But before we speak to that, I'm curious to understand, Prince, this is out of curiosity.
Yes.
How does it feel to be a prince?
Being a prince is, first and foremost, people think it's much more of a title. But there is much more that comes to it when it becomes a title. It's not a title situation. It's how you carry yourself. It's how you carry the culture norms. It's how you associate with the people. And most on top of all is the respect that you have got for other cultures and where you come from.
The environment where I grew up was far from inspiring anyone. So we are surrounded by scarcity, constant death, abduction. There was nothing really inspiring. I remember my brother was abducted on that day. He never came back up today. But I was there like seeing your weight and the weight of the AK, then they take you. But I look malnourished, dirty, young, so I was ignored.
What's the best advice you've gotten from your parents or in life?
To make my girlfriend breakfast.
Do you do it?
Yes, you do it, not me.
Do you make breakfast?
But here was a kicker. Accessing a kitchen was very difficult. So basically, the guy was telling me that, man, don't even bother to bring.
Go and get your own kitchen.
You know,
Go and get your own kitchen, basically.
Yeah, go and get your kitchen, basically. So never really, like, those were, you have to look at the shades, the dynamics. But what I do here, I make up breakfast.
Wow, the Leaders Podcast, People, Purpose and Progress with me, Simon Chris Makanga. Well, before we dive into today's episode, I would like to remind ourselves one of the fundamental questions that many of us asked when we were little or when we were first introduced to Christianity and God. I am one of the people that at one time I looked up in the sky and I asked, is really God up there? But all I could see are the blue skies. And then I asked myself, who are we as human beings? Where did we come from? Why are we here on earth? And where are we going? So today we are going to have a conversation about life. And today I'm joined by two great friends that I've met in life. I've been asking myself, why did I meet them? But I remember many times I prayed to God that may you connect me to the right people. And I believe these are the people that God has connected me to. Friends, welcome to the Leaders Podcast.
Thank you for having us.
One, I want to start that it's a big pleasure that we are hosting a prince from Teso Kingdom. Prince Job Emori.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me, Chris. By the names, it's Job Emolot, Prince of Teso, Emori Koreai, BBC.
Wow. What did you just say?
I was basically unifying my people. When you say Emori Koreai, that tells people you're welcome all. Then BBC is basically the greeting of the people.
Wow.
Yes, so there's yoga, there's BBC, so we've got different dialects when it comes to it, but yeah, we're the people
wow.
of Teso.
It's a pleasure to have you on the Leaders Podcast.
Thank you for having
and then I have my good friend, not that Job is not good.
He's a great friend.
He's also a great friend.
He's a great friend.
Owiny Hakim. Hakim, it's a pleasure to have you once again. Many times you've always respected my invitation. And Hakim is a special person. He walked from here to Addis Ababa, from Uganda to Addis Ababa, 2,000 kilometers on foot. So you can know the kind of sacrifice he has made, and that's great wisdom.
Devotion too.
You know?
Maybe bordering being unreasonable.
Being unreasonable too. You can't be so sure about it.
Reasonable.
Yes, you can't be so sure.
Yeah, but I got triggered by what Prince Hal was sharing. I like the language. I'm a person who obsessed by the diversity of cultures.
Yes.
And I like when he went home and put a few words on the podcast.
You also want to take the same road. You want to borrow a bus.
He should.
Well, I am multilinguistic.
You
so
can fly.
Actually, you should
I
start
can
from
say Kopango.
Yes, there we go.
I can say Osivirota. I can say Empako Yawe. I can say Jambo. I can say Mwirwe.
The man is
I can say Oriena.
Oh, that's now outside of the
I can say Barigani. I can say Kakdila. I can say how are you? I can say Konnichiwa. I can say Ni Hao. Well, I like diversity basically. Like I believe that different group of people, different cultures, they have something to bring to make the world like a very beautiful place.
And by the way, this speaks a lot to what we're going to talk about. We're going to have a conversation about life.
Please.
And before we came here, Hakim was asking about what is leadership. But before we speak to that, I'm curious to understand, Prince, this is out of curiosity.
Yes.
How does it feel to be a prince?
Being a prince is, first and foremost, people think it's much more of a title, but there's much more that comes to it when it becomes a title. It's not a title situation. It's how you carry yourself. It's how you carry the culture norms. It's how you associate with the people. And most on top of all is the respect that you have got for other cultures and where you come from. Now, for example, I'm Ugandan, and people look at me and ask me, okay, you're Ugandan, but I respect Ugandan as the constitution. That's number one. Because without the Ugandanship or the leadership, we will not be having the kingdoms going on right now. As you can see, when it comes to our neighbors, the Kenyans, they do not have it most of the times. So, but we have been given that opportunity. We have been given that freedom, that knowledge and freedom of saying, you know what, we as this tribe, we can move from chiefdom to kingdom. And that speaks volumes of the people. That speaks volumes of culture. It speaks of progress. Like how are we going to become a better people? And when we keep the cultural norms going on, the nation becomes a better, strong nation.
Does it feel like a privilege?
Sometimes it feels like a privilege, but most of the time it is hard work. You need to prove yourself to the people. Because people out there will think it's much more of, okay, he gets it in a simpler way. But when you come back, when you sit in our home, and you sit, I'm looking at the Emolot, I'm the prince, everything will be stripped away. He will tell you, you know, right now it is father and son. I want us to speak to that level of respect, then we get from that to man and man. Because if you don't get within those confinements of respect from father and son to man and man, as right now where I am, you cannot reach the confinements of being a prince. Yes.
Wow. Hakim, I see you really looking at Prince like, oh, I don't know what's running in your mind, but I know your story. You were raised in the camp. You were fed on donations.
Oh, right. He was on a camp too.
What was running in your mind, honestly speaking?
Well, for me, what has always like interest me or raise curiosity is understanding how people mobilize themselves to build their capability, and people who are good at doing that, they get more capability in every aspect of life.
Progress.
They get progress, and people who don't have the capability of building, harnessing their capability, they end up disorganized, and they are always being suppressed in any way, or even what they have is taken away. So when you look at some of these institutions, say the traditional institutions, like they will have like the culture heads. Traditionally, these were fighters. They fought to defend their people, and when you go history in the history of the kingdom or the chiefdom in most of the African society, it was not handed over through a silver plate.
Exactly.
They fought for it.
Yeah,
you had to fight for it.
They love their communities and they fought. And you know, when you fight for the community, they give you your rewards, they give you flowers, and that comes in forms of the titles, come in forms of earning respect. And you say, oh, you mobilize that, you made us to realize our potential, and you protected our roots, so this is what you deserve, be our leader. And traditionally, from the Africa standpoint, historically, that's how I perceive. Yeah, then it evolved, of course, with time. Not all the time we are fighting.
Yeah.
And those emerged, they merge into the institutions we build today. Because you have to harness your capability now beyond fighting. Now you have like to ensure that there's food security. You have to ensure that people have access to water. People have access to resources where they can derive their livelihood. So they have to mobilize their land, they have to plant trees, all these things. Now, the concept of leadership from fighting, like rudimentary wars and all, became more civil, mobilizing community,
Social.
building structures, community like.
Because it literally moved from, if I may add on what you said, it's moved from the strongest of the strong. I'm the best fighter, I'm going to defend the land. It moves because at once those people settled and they knew they're the strongest of the strong, then what's the next plan? Are you going to feed people off your strength? Or are you going to mobilize the people and say, okay, you know what, we need to see a way of making sure that we have got food security. We need to see a way that we have secured our water resources.
Wow. And that's how the human race was organized.
Thank you very much.
That's how the first thinkers, that's how they put everything to order, because the difference between the bush and the garden is order.
Yeah, I mean, you have to organize.
That is a primary responsibility.
It's organizing, like you order from the chaos.
Yes,
and those are the origin of institutions. How people mobilize their capability to account for the gain of their work. What today we call the gains of trade. You know, and when you have, when the benefit, the cost of running this institution is low, and the gain of trade is high, the gain of trade will again feed into the constitution to make the institution more stable and more efficient, to attract more gains of trade. So that's how human race evolved into simple misunderstanding and people mobilizing their capability and fighting and building institutions. And they evolved.
And with that also comes the thing of opportunity costs. Yes, I'm your leader. The population has grown. What's the next forward step? We are going to invade our neighbors who are weaker, take their resources, utilize them as labor to feed our opportunity costs, what we need to drive our societies better. So that was the expansion.
The concept of planning.
The concept of planning ahead.
Wow.
That's still part in leadership. Because if you see all in history, even in the Bible, even in the Quran, you'll see those leaders who were good strategists. For if I can think about the English, the Christians, we had killed Baldwin. Then the Muslims, we had Saladin. Two great strategists of their time. But if you look at their ages, compared to others, Saladin was older than Baldwin. Baldwin was 30, but he was sick of leprosy. But at the same time, it was a concept of being a leader. It was a concept of, okay, I'm going to put their needs on top of mine, no matter the cost. And that's the thing people need to understand about leadership. Leadership means I'm going to do the dirty things of the nation to make sure that you people of mine are safe. Our children are able to wake up to the next morning.
And the next generation has also been catered for. Interesting. Now, friends, in our introduction, I said that we're going to have a conversation about life. And out of curiosity, I don't know whether it also does cross your mind where you ask yourself, why are we here on earth? And what is our primary responsibility? The reason as to why I picked out on you is that you are friends whom I've seen that you know where you are going. I've seen both of you make personal sacrifices.
True.
Hakim, your sacrifices towards Mother Nature are immense. I mean, you're an activist. You have walked from here to Addis Ababa. You have cycled to Nairobi. You have organized the monthly Kampala Cycling Day events. I've seen Job do mighty things. When you sit down and listen to Job, you'll be like, wow, this is wisdom worth sharing with the world. And that's why I picked you out. And I said, wow, let's build this community where people at one point will find this a safe place to come and blow their steam, to come and detoxify their mind. So now I would like us to, before we dive into understanding what life is, according in your perspective, let's get the people to know who you are, who job is, and allow me take you back when you were little. What is your favorable or childhood memory that you can speak of?
One of my favorable childhood memories was we had gone to Mombasa for a vacation. This I think was 1998. And then I had survived a near drowning. But then after I survived the near drowning, my mom comes from shopping with my dad, and she comes and she's furious. She's mad. And for me, as a child, basically what happened, let me just give you a backside story. Basically what happened was I saw these young children who are white children, basically like my age 5, 6, 7, and they were literally doing laps on this swimming pool. And I was like, if these guys can do it, I can do it. But then I ended up drowning, but then I was saved. So flash forward a few hours back, mom comes back, and then she finds out that I was near drowning. She did not want to know. The first thing she does is she gets her shoe, her slipper, she just flips it, shuts the hotel door, puts me down and gives me a beating. And then she goes in Swahili, Mimi, always kunyua leo, you're not going to kill me today. You're my firstborn. No, not today. And then with time as you grow old, the next day what happened is all my siblings, the ones who were with me, everybody was by my side. Little movement, no, where you going? Where you going? And that showed responsibility after the people were angry. But then as I grew up, the beating that woman gave me that day were lessons for me to grow up with, because I learned that from today onwards, if you know some things you can't do it just because somebody else is doing it, don't do it. And with the love that my siblings brought over to me the next day, they're like, yo, don't do that. If you want to learn how to do something, our big brother Ivan can swim. Go to Ivan. Let him teach you how to swim. If you want, let him be with you when you're there. And then the other thing that I learned was, at a very young age, death is real.
Death is real.
Death is real. So in that bittersweet moment, that's one of my favorite childhood moments. I'll never forget it. 1998, December, Mombasa Beach. It was Bamburi Beach Hotel. That is stuck right here. Bittersweet, but as you grow up, it is a very lovely.
How does it speak to you currently?
How does it speak to me currently? It speaks to me in volumes that these are skills that we need to teach our children at a very young age. Because right now, if you tell somebody in Uganda you need to teach your child how to swim, they will give you a very funny comment or excuse. Swim for what? What is it going to take them? I mean, they're in Uganda, but you do not know. If you remember a while back, there was a few years back, the boat incident on Lake Victoria.
Oh, on the 24th of November 20.
The ones who were able to make it, despite the fact that they were intoxicated, muscle memory kicked in. Survival instinct kicked in. Told them, I'm not drowning today. If I can
swim.
Yes, if I can make it to that fisherman, and he just paddles he will help me out. You get? And so for me, that shows me maturity, respect, and a love of a mother, and the patience of a father. Because after that, my dad comes and is like, the boy has just survived death. Now you want to kill him. Stop beating him. He has learned his lesson. And that's basically a father. A father's work is that patience. A mother's work is that love. I will protect you no matter the situation. Your father, on the other hand, is going to protect you. Yes, he's going to be patient because he wants to teach you better than he can, or give you a better life than he had.
You see, what I see, Job, is that to become what we are today, we just don't wake up one morning and
you don't. Sometimes takes time.
In our behaviors when we are little, that's when we build the people or the person that you're going to become when you grow up. Sometimes the environment where you're exposed determines who you will be or you will be another person to
Yeah.
change the environment where
Yeah.
you came from.
Because
Because there's a dichotomy to that. We have seen people who grew up near to hell condition and they end up to be well. But again, we see psychology telling us that if people grow up in a rough environment, they'll end up being a social liability. So I don't know how to reconcile that. That's why I wanted to explore.
Actually,
But that's a character that we build towards leadership.
thank you. Actually, I wanted to say it depends. Sometimes depends with the soul or the personality of the being, because those who say, you know what, I've gone through this. Family has gone through this. No more. I'm not going through that generation. No more. This stops here today. You get, and that takes courage. That takes inner self, where you say, okay, you know what, I'm going to push it. But if you accept the fact that there's a possibility of failure, and you recognize there's a possibility of failure, and you go bang on head, say, okay, there's a possibility of failure, but today, win or lose, it is a win for me. And that's one thing I loved about him last time when we had the meeting. There's a Buddhist thing you said, but basically when the way I concepted it, it was win or lose today, it is still a win. I woke up in the morning, I pushed on with this job, I did this, I came back home, though I'm sleeping hungry. Tomorrow morning, I know I'm being paid my salary of the month. And that right there is a win. Like we talked about earlier on, sacrifices, leadership, that's sacrificing. Because what I know is if you don't put yourself first, even our parents, it was one concept that was inbuilt, or it was built to them. For me, what I believe it is one of those unsaid laws of nature. If you don't put yourself first, who's going to put you first? Nobody.
Wow. Hakim, allow me have a short conversation with you. Even me personally, I'm curious to know this. Despite the fact that you're my friend, there's something I've never heard from you. And I would like this to be your very first time you say it together with the people, the leaders on this podcast. I know a little bit about your childhood background. And I know where you have put most of your energies. I see you one of these people that are fighting so hard, just like myself most times, to make sure that you change where you came from. When you were little, is there a moment that you can speak of and you're like, maybe it's because I was this and I've become this person? Like what Prince Job was saying, that when he was little, he built a character in him that swimming can be an alternative for him when danger kicks in.
Yeah.
Do you have any moment that you can speak of?
There's one moment that, talk about what he remembers. There's one moment as a child. I don't know if it's a good moment or it's a bad moment. First, I didn't grow up, the environment where I grew up was far from inspiring anyone. So we are surrounded by scarcity, constant death, abduction. There was nothing really inspiring, like you could look up to. Then what I remember, we were neighbor, there was a missionary school, there was a mission, the Catholic mission, where the priest used to stand in the church. For some reason, missions those days, they used to have a lot of fruits, but they were fenced, they were not accessible to anyone. So it was 96, yeah, I was little. Then we had a rebel attack that day in the morning, unpredictably. They came and rounded the village, and everyone went to the mission because that's where the fence was, like to running for their lives. Then they gathered people there. They broke the door. So that day, like, we didn't have to get anyone's permission to get to the mission.
I mean, it is life and death.
It was life and death. So they came and did abduction. I was too malnourished. And remember, my brother was abducted on that day. He never came back up today. But I was there like like seeing your weight and the weight of the AK, then they take you. But I look malnourished, dirty, young, so I was ignored. Then after that, they left. Then everyone was trying to find their way around. For me, that was the access to these fruits. They had like very ripe mangoes.
Sugar.
Wow.
Yeah, the man had to go to the sugar.
Like no one was telling you no. Everyone is in shock. I'm like, I'm going to show this mango work. And they're going to see me today. Me and this mango, we are seeing each other. I was climbing the tree without anyone saying no. I think from that's a stupid, childish memory. Yeah.
You know, that reminds me.
To me, it's not even about stupid.
Please help me pull your mic closer to you.
So, like the sense of like.
To me, it's not even about stupid, childish memory.
Yeah.
It is about endurance and resilience. Yes, it's. I'm so sorry about your brother, but at the same time, it was. You know, like I said, there's a way life plays itself out. That was your path.
And
talking about that, for me about this day, like doing something without any constraint. You know, like we used to go and get those mangoes, but they're like under security. Anyway, guy can come and back at you, get you, give you a few knocks on your head, here and there. Like but on that day, like the security guard was there, the priest was there, I was on the mango, everyone was in shock. Like so that kind of freedom. And
how does it speak to you currently?
It currently speaks to me that I think people should be able to get in spaces where they can do things they feel it's right. For me as a child, I learned like say I do cycling. Yeah, I'm advocating to ensure that cycling as a mode of transport in Kampala, cyclists are safe. You know, they should not be having constraint to access. And we should build institution that serves people in the right way, like enabling us to realize our full potential as human. And if we build institution that serves our potential, like enables us harness our potential, there is a positive feedback loop that we are going to feed those institutions back. At the end of the day, we are going all to harness our potential to build a society that gives meaning and purpose to every life. And that is my world view, and that's how I really like everyone, regardless of who you are, how you get to spaces where there's no constraint. And if they are constrained, they are like constructive constraint to direct you toward a functional
society.
Yeah, a direction where you fully realize who you are. Because a lot of people walk on top of the earth, they mature, and they miss realizing their full potential. And that's a very painful life to live.
Just like what Hakim said, that all that gets you to realize who you are.
Yeah, it gets you to know who you are. For me, first and foremost, I believe that I'm a down-to-earth person. Because that's how I've been able to crack people's guards. That's how I've been able to make friends. That's how I've been able to share experiences and knowledge. And also on the other hand, also gain it back. Because if you come to people with a fence up, the way I was taught, the way my experience from childhood has been taught, we have been brought in as so many children, and when you're so many children in a family, there are characters. So many characters are coming, and then you need now to find out a way of balancing that situation. I deal with so and so like this. I deal with so and so like this. But then, on the basis of it all, there's a unified way where you can communicate to all of them at peace and adjust without them having the fences up. And for me, I believe that's being down to earth. Secondly, I wasn't growing up as a much more of a faithful person. But now, as you grow up, there's that side of faith that you get to understand, and you appreciate God. Say, okay, this is a situation. I cannot fight it, because growing up, there's some things you go through and experience. Now, like for him, he did experience his situation, but he made it. And somehow, somewhere, he will tell you it was a factor of things. This is this and that, lack that, and somewhere he will tell you, miracle. So yes, for me, basically, I believe I'm a down-to-earth person. Right now, I'm a spiritual person. Hardworking as time goes on, and basically just appreciative and always seeking knowledge. Always seeking knowledge. And you know what they say about seeking knowledge? Seeking knowledge doesn't mean reading books, asking questions. It's about humility. It's about respect. How do you understand the world around you? How do you carry yourself? What are your social responsibilities? What are your financial constraints? Are you able to control yourself? You know, what are your temptations? What are your vices? Because if you get to know your weaknesses at one point, it's an armor of strength.
And what you're speaking about, Job, reminds me of a true definition of maturity. I read one of the books, I think it was Daniel Goleman. He said how you define maturity is the ability to step into somebody's shoes. If, for instance, if I have a run end with you, I can step into your shoes and I understand and I ask myself, what can I do different? But before I step into your shoes, I must bend myself low. That is called death. Die. And being the fact that understanding that these vices are within us, they are natural. It's okay for me to be jealous. It's okay for me to be envious.
It's human instinct. It's
It's
basically
okay for
human.
me to feel angry with you. But where maturity plays is, do I have the ability to understand that I can control them. I can understand that now I'm angry. What do I do? There's a miscommunication. But why am I angry with you? That's when I have the ability to step into your shoes and understand, what can I do different?
Exactly. And you see, the other thing is, I love the fact that you've given us opportunity, because with leadership, it is about learning to listen and learning to act. You may be a leader. There's actually, I think it's in Proverbs. I think it's in Proverbs or Psalms, where they go, a handful of fools in a city full of wise people is a treasure. You understand? Like, even if you're king, at one point you need to be advised. And advising doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to advise you politically or economically or in times of war. It could be personal. It could be, my king, you're working too much. You need to rest. That is wisdom. Wow. And with wisdom, like we said, leadership, it's basically understanding who you are. Because if you don't understand who you are at the beginning of your journey, that first baby step you
That's
take.
That's called purpose.
Exactly.
Understanding
Purpose.
your
Thank you.
purpose.
And thank you very much. Understanding your purpose. Like we have seen the book of Art of War. Most of the times, Sun Tzu's sayings is all about purpose. One of my favorite is, if you wait by the river side or riverbed long enough, you'll see the bodies of your enemies float by. That's not necessarily that your enemies float by. It could be your vices. It could be you saying today,
eating you up.
Yes, today I am done smoking. It's been eating me up. My health is doing me bad. And what do? You decide to take back your health. As you take your health, that's you waiting by the riverside. You see the vice going now. That's the the bodies of your enemies passing by. It could be your demons. And you see, when you tell people demons, people expect biblical situations, but no. Drugs.
Well, there's an ancient Japanese saying that an empire cannot be destroyed from outside.
It has to be within.
It can be destroyed within.
And can be made strong within.
And can only be made strong within. So, and this, you can interpret it literally or figuratively. Like you realize that it's only you who has the capability of destroying yourself. You know, most great empires, like enemies have done little to this. Most of the thing comes from within, and they crumble. But again, Job, the question of leadership is very complicated.
It's very complicated.
And that's what I want to ask.
Although you make it sound very convincing and very easy to understand, and the easy me, I'm listening to you, and you're killing it, and you're making it. But the layer deeper, like if it was that easy, how come like for the last 3,000 years, from the Aristotle, the Pilatos, we have been pondering about this question of leadership, and we have not got it right. And observing around the world, there are people who have tried to get it right, and they're like those who are still grossly getting it wrong and paying the cost of misleadership or bad leadership today. Like if it was like what should be the question here? Is it like how should we understand ourselves?
Well, glad you're still watching the Leaders Podcast, People, Purpose and Progress, with me, Simon Chris Makanga. And I'm enjoying this conversation with friends. It's quite interesting that these are gentlemen I met in different spheres of life. But I came to realize that we are all connected by one agenda, the ability to die for self and also try to have a positive mind in a society where many people are reading the book of Lamentation, in a society where people don't find solutions. Yet there's a saying that in every problem, there is a solution there is. So these are people, one thing, by the way, that connects me best to you, Hakim and Job, is that you guys are not lamenting. Every time I was telling one of the people here, for people who are watching this, we are hosted by Flamingo Bar and Accommodation here in Namugongo. So we shall be throwing a number down there for bookings and any other services that you want from them. Now let's dive into our segment where we bring in the rapid questions just to understand deeply who you are and what shapes most of your interests and what is life to you. Hakim, before we started this conversation off air, you were saying that most of your priorities is the bed and the shoes.
Yes.
Did I say that? I say
you said the bed and the shoes.
I say the most important things
most
in life,
important
but not
things.
the priorities.
Not the priorities.
If you're going to use my words, use exactly how I use them.
Glad you're here.
He said no.
Glad you're here to remind me, and I appreciate
Oh, he said shoes because he spends
his time walking.
most of his time sitting and walking. So
No, okay, this is what I say. That the most important things in my life
In your life.
is where I spend most of my life.
That's the
That
bed.
is the shoes. You need to get a comfortable pairs of shoes.
comfortable. I told people comfortability.
Comfortability, because if you're going to work and you're going to run around Kampala, I'm going to be cycling.
You have to
You need
get
to.
a nice
You need
pair
to.
of
You don't, I don't have to be thinking about shoe giving me pain or it needs to be comfortable. And if I'm going to rest after a long running day, I need to have a comfortable bed.
What motivates you to wake up from that bed every day
I
and
have,
put on the shoe?
I have visions, I have goals that scares me, man.
Yes.
Like what?
I want to build a better life for whoever who will come after me, whether my children or my community or my neighbors. I want to, even if I just help kids to cross the road, for me that's a great sign. So what enables me, there's 5 pages I want to read in the morning, and I see how the knowledge that has been documented, what impact it has on me. I need to take care of my body. For you, if you're going to do things for the community, you need to make sure that you're coming from a very healthy place.
Putting yourself first.
Yeah, I don't want to be thinking about my health condition when I'm doing community work. And beside, like, I do meditation to make sure that I'm mentally in the right shape. All these things takes hours. So if I'm going to share with anything, they say you cannot share from the empty cup.
You must have put something there.
Yes.
I must have, so if I'm going to go about like running about this advocacy we are doing about Kampala's cycling day, advocating for safe inclusive road, how do we promote inclusive safe road in the city, I need to come up from the healthy space of mind, because you're going to meet people who disagree with you and sincerely disagreeing with you, that How can we get good roads in Kampala? We already fail in every dimension.
Yes,
How do we ensure people like that see what you see, envision what you envision? So you need to civically have a conversation with them, understanding their
Man, your life
perspective.
seems to be so busy. How many, I don't know how many hours you spend in your shoes and how many you spend sleeping. But let me speak to Job. Job, how would you measure success?
How do I measure success? First and foremost, what I would always tell people is success knows no age. It does not care how old you are, because we have seen people who have worked hard for almost 60 years and just overnight, it's right there. They even become confused on how to spend their success. So for me, success to me is basically being able to fulfill your responsibilities. If you've got your responsibilities and you're able to fulfill your responsibilities to the capacity that, or to the capability that you do not have to look back, but you're looking forward. For me, that's success, because I've been blessed to experience wealthy people, to sit down with wealthy people. I've been blessed to sit down with rich people, with mediocre people, and now people in the villages. Then I've also been blessed to experience what it means not to have, when things are extremely hard. But if you're able to have 1 meal a day, for somebody else, that is success. So success depends on the person's situation. And like I said, it does not know your situation, does not know your age, because once it hits, it hits. And you see the thing about success, it always comes with experience. If you go and you gamble, let's say sports betting, that's not success, because that money you're going to spend it real fast. But the money that you work hard for, and today I am going to sleep, like I said, I'm going to sleep hungry, but my son or daughter is able to go to school, they're able to eat. That is success for me for the day. And success is what you build on. Success is not continuous. Bill Gates is working right now. Elon Musk is there working with the United States of government. Why? Because he wants to be successful.
So the anger to be better every day.
Yes, you basically, like you said, aim to be better than you were yesterday. It's actually, I think I got that from saying, aim to be better than you were yesterday.
Now, Hakim, let me also hear from you. If you look around your friends, what would you have done different from your friends?
I mean, there's already me being me. I don't think my friends can be better than. I don't think there's anyone who can be better than like me.
Actually,
I struggle so hard to
being true to yourself.
Like a lot of people say, okay, I want to be like Hakim. Yeah. Oh, I want to be like Chris. I want to be like Joe. You cannot be a better version of Joe. There's no such.
But I think you can.
No, you cannot be. I cannot be a better version of Chris. I can only be Hakim or Owiny. I cannot be a better version of Simon Chris Makanga.
For example.
So what I'm trying to say here that I want people to cultivate themselves, because there's a lot of potential in being you. Like when you're doing something that comes from within you, it comes from infinite source of power. You cannot exhaust. You can leave work, you can go to work where you work from 8 to 5 and go back home, do your own thing
for
and
30 minutes
for another 6 hours, because it's coming from you.
Because,
that story reminds me of something. We are in an era of AI, artificial intelligence. So there are moments where you feel like, you go to ChatGPT and you ask a question, but you feel like there's something still lacking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Until you subject yourself to thinking, and you're like, but can't I create this?
You see,
can't I create? Let me, for example, these stories that we do here. There are moments where we need a thumbnail, and then you're
yes.
like,
you need a thumbnail, but where can I get the
where
thumbnail?
can I get a thumbnail? Then you go to ChatGPT.
It's literally there somehow in the computer system, but you cannot access it. But it's just there. But then when you think to yourself, you're like, but I can do better. I can make something where this thumbnail is, it's just there.
Now,
Think.
and it's you, and it's originally you.
Exactly.
So let's get inspiration. Let's get let's look up to people who have done well. They have left their positive footprint in their life, but let's try to cultivate to be who we are.
True.
Because I believe Job has like something like the world is waiting for. Everyone, even you right there, you're watching us, you
Yeah.
have something
True.
the world is waiting
Absolutely.
for.
True.
One of the advice I can give guys who are watching us right there is, your life is your life. Even twins, when they're born, when they're out, they are separate. Even conjoined twins, when they're separate, everybody is in their own situation. People are going to work hard. Everybody's going to have their own paths in life. Because I have grown up in a household where we are so many siblings. But once we got to our secondary, then that's when we began noticing different personal character traits. Then when it came to university, people had totally different hobbies, mind thoughts. And as you grow up, you get to notice, oh, wait, my siblings have gotten married, I've got their family. That's now the priorities.
True.
You need to think about yourself.
True.
Because if you think about yourself, you put yourself in front, you put yourself first, which means spiritual, your health, physical, financial. Mention every physical being of you, that aspect that makes you wake up in the morning. If you put yourself first and say, okay, you know what, today I'm going to do this. If it is positive, you're not God. Baby steps. Step number 1. Let's say if you're trying to quit smoking, say today I'm not going to smoke this amount of cigarettes. Do your best because it is coming from you, and that is self-progress, that's self-push. And when you've got a self-push, even leaders, that's how it is. If you strive to be a better leader, it's not necessary that you'll have to go by the book. Sometimes every leader has got their own conventional way of approaching a problem. You
And I
understand?
think what you're saying, Job, is you see, when we have mentors or people that we learn from, yes, I can learn something from Hakim. I can learn something from you, Job.
Yes.
But how do I implement what I have learned from you to work in me? And I think that is the discipline that we need to carry as leaders. Because if you say, okay, Hakim wakes up at 5 a.m. and is doing well, how do I start to wake up at 5 a.m.?
And how do I motivate others?
To motivate others. But means you need also to first stay motivated.
You need
Hakim,
to
you
tame
shared
yourself.
with me a book about Leadership 101. And the guy talked about leaders who try to lose weight. That many times when you want to lose weight, you go to the gym and you measure yourself. But he said that's okay, do it once. But don't do it every time you go to the gym. Because once you measure yourself, you're going to feel demotivated.
You taunt yourself.
But look at what do you benefit, what other benefits do you get after working out? Does your mental health work?
Do you feel fresh?
Do you feel fresh after working out?
Yes. And
Prince Job,
Please.
what's the best advice you've ever gotten from your father?
what's the best advice I've ever got from my father? Success knows no age, and time waits for no man.
He tells you that.
He tells me that, but most importantly, this one is so simple. Respect your father and mother, and you'll live a long life, because from the experience he had, he has been able to push it. Because as you see, as you grow, unfortunately my mother passed away in 2019,
May her soul rest
but
in
it
peace.
was just still the same thing. Respect. Because you see, when you grow old, even if somebody is against you, your God, be it the Buddha, be it Allah, be it whatever situation, there's always that force of that unseen law of nature that will always have your back. Maybe it's your ancestors, because of the way you have carried out yourself. The respect matters a lot. Jesus had a lot of respect. If Jesus knew, when he found out that, yeah, I'm the son of the big man, he would have gone on flaunting. He would have gone on making too much noise. But he knew his responsibility. Thus, the first thing he had was respect for both his father above and his father and mother here. So respect is something that I've been taught. and the other one is responsibility. Learn your responsibilities, take hold of your responsibilities, and be real with your responsibilities.
Hakim, what's the best advice you've gotten from your parents or in life?
To make my girlfriend breakfast.
Okay.
Why? Wait. Actually, now he's not going to make me think about the other that I forgot.
You're going to bring it.
I'm going to bring it up. Let me tell you
Hakim,
something.
why?
Hakim is a respectable man, so basically it is respect and honor one woman. Be faithful to one woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
That if you told me that if you make 18, you're free to bring your girlfriend at home as long as you can wake up in the morning and you make her breakfast.
Do you do it?
Yes, you do it, not me.
Do you make
But
breakfast?
here was a kicker. Accessing a kitchen was very difficult. So basically, the guy was telling me that, man, don't even bother to bring.
Go and get your own kitchen.
You know,
Go and get your own kitchen, basically.
Yeah, go and get your kitchen, basically. So never really, like, those were, you have to look at the shades, the dynamics. But what I do, I make up breakfast. Actually, that's I took it literally. Yeah.
Basically, they're telling him to read between the blunt lines. I do understand where you're coming from, but if you're
I see you're manning up. Your clothes are starting to get shaped.
You should put them in order.
Better get your own boundaries.
Please do make breakfast.
Please on your own. We may first year maybe wanting that millet situation for you waking up for cornflakes. We don't want cornflakes here. We want kalo.
No joke.
No joke. we share on the stove for them to think about milk and cornflakes cereals,
But no. On the serious note, I was, like growing up with a traditional African parent. I don't know if how, but that's a stereotype that African parent. There's a stereotype to it. But yes. He was an elder in the village, so a lot of people used to bring issues, and was somehow attached to a district leadership, something on the land board. And there was a word in Acholi called Chamochana. Yes, called corruption. So like, I don't want corruption here. So I'd hear him saying that.
Chamochana.
Yeah, Pamiro Chamochana Kanya. So I would hear saying that word like constantly in the meeting.
Your dad?
Yeah, with having a conversation with people. So, and I think that also like from the leadership standpoint, I like very transparent. I'm always very transparent in my dealings. Yes. I don't like people taking corners. And sometimes I come off like being like in people want to take corners. I come off like and I'm pleasant to deal with, because they're not going to tell me something else and go tell the other person something else. Yes. I want things when they are very aligned. People. And that's what I manage. To learn from him. And from a discipline angle, maturing as a man. I actually make my girlfriend breakfast as well.
You do? Interesting. She must be proud. Wow.
Yes, don't force me to do that. This coming weekend, I'm going to.
You're kidding me, not job. You've never met.
I'm going to be in a situation, be like, two people to them who's cooking breakfast, even after Saturday. So the job is going to be the chef for the house today.
Interesting. So the show has been impactful to you.
Yes. We're picking one by one.
One by one. And we don't change at once.
And we do not change at
guys,
it's a gradual process.
If you get a nice lady and you like her, please make her breakfast.
That's all.
Yeah, that's it.
But there's more than breakfast anyway.
There's more than breakfast, but breakfast is usually the first situation of the day. So
they say you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
True.
You never.
Do it once.
Do it once.
Friends, thank you so much for showing up.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, friends.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
And I'm grateful that we've had this conversation finally. despite all the resistance that was happening. I'm glad we've had this conversation, and it's not
Yes.
going to end from here.
No, it's not.
The essence as to why we need to hold this space is that we need to build a safe space for people to come and
Please,
blossom.
please. It's important.
We'll have several conversations
Yeah.
and about life. We'll tackle different topics about life. So this is just the genesis. More will be coming up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Friends, that is it for the Leaders Podcast, People, Purpose and Progress, with me, Simon Chris Makanga. But if you have come this far, means you're part of this family. And if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do that. And also click on that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any episode. Until another episode, may the good Lord of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob be with you. Until another video, for now, it's a bye-bye.